What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Dallas Daily Show. So glad to have you here as we're coming at you from the Neighborhood Loan Studio in St. Louis, Missouri. Today is continuing in our Midweek MindSHIFT. This is Midweek MindSHIFT Part 3. Let's hop right into it. So we've been kind of doing this as a separate thing from the typical Dallas Daily Show for the last couple of weeks, as we're hitting you with the 7 to 8 minutes, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but then we come at you in the middle of the week with the Midweek MindSHIFT to kind of help motivate you to that next level for the rest of your week. And what we have been specifically talking about, everybody, we've been going through a series of how to say hello to a future version of you. Now, here's a quick groundwork review. We do have all the notes from the series here below for you, the playlist on YouTube, but just a quick overview. There's two potential yous out there in the future. Now, yes, it could be argued in quantum theory that there's a lot more than that, but for the sake of our conversation, you will one day arrive at a future version of yourself. The question is, are you going to love the person you become, or is it someone that you're not going to like? So there's two potential futures out there for you, right? There's a future you that you want to avoid. This is the one who's sick, unhealthy, on all the medications, been struggling with the same stuff, broken marriages, broken homes, broken relationships, broken financially, all the stuff we don't want to be. Basically, if someone said to you, hey, what don't you want to be in the next 3, 5, 10 years from now? This is who you are describing, okay? That's a future you want to avoid. But then over on this other side is the future you that you want to become. This is the idealized version of you, that when you think of your future self, you think, this is great. This is healthy. This is happy. This is whole, financially secure. Relationships are exactly what I want them to be. All this stuff that's like, yeah, that's good stuff. So the two potential futures out there, right? Future you want to avoid. Future you want to embrace. And as a mind shift coach, I'm here to tell you that the future you that you want to become is perfectly possible. And the present choices you are making are actually going to put you on the trajectory of one of those two destinations. Future you want to avoid, future you want to become. And what we have to do, because what typically occurs in our life is we begin to realize that we are not happy with the present results, and we're definitely not happy with the trajectory that we are on. And so we do the little mindset coaching, mindset, not mind shift. We talked about that in this series at the very beginning. We do these little mindset things and we're like, maybe I'll learn to do this, or maybe I'll implement this new routine, or maybe if I just start dieting, or maybe if I. But let me ask you, how many times in your life have you found yourself downloading the app to count the calories, doing the restart one more time, right? Saying, well, this month I'm going to get my budget in order. Well, this month I'm going to start dating my wife more. Well, this month. And it's always, well, now, it's screwed up. It's Wednesday. It's Thursday. I screwed up. I'll start again on Monday, or I'll start again at the beginning of the next month, or I'll start again at the new year. We do that often in our lives, and what we do is we end up in the same cycles. Once something triggers us, we fall into old belief patterns, old behavior patterns, old cycles that keep us stuck on this loop that get us going in a trajectory of a future we want to avoid. So that all comes from our current mindset. The mindset was the way our mind thinks by the way it was set in the past. By the way that the things that people said to us as we were growing up, the things that teachers said, parents said, siblings said, friends said about us, all of those things keep us like packed it into our operating system in our brain. And now a lot of the beliefs that we have that are political beliefs, socioeconomic beliefs, religious beliefs, financial beliefs, money doesn't grow on blank, right? We've learned all of these scripts that just are running in the background. So to have a mind shift, to get away from a trajectory of the person we don't want to become, we have to shift and start thinking from the end, with the end in mind of who do we want to be, who is this person we are going to become, and begin to think like them, behave like them, believe like them until we act like them, and then that actually puts us on a trajectory. So we're kind of reverse engineering who we want to become by starting with this idea. So in this Mind Shift series, in this Midweek Mind Shift, we have been breaking down the 5 ways to get the mind shift, to say hello to future you. Can I say it like this? To actualize future you. And we've been going through it week by week in this series for the last few weeks. And today is the next part of that. So the first step, I'm going to give them all 5 to you, and then we'll hop in today's conversation, okay? So the first step is visualize it. Again, this is look at you, who you want to become. Visualize it, emotionalize it, vocalize it, part 1 and part 2, right? Vocalize it. Then we're going to internalize it, and then ultimately we actualize it. So we have to visualize, then we emotionalize, we vocalize until we internalize, and then ultimately, once we internalize and it becomes who we are, then we actualize it in our present results. That's what this whole conversation has been about. And the last couple of weeks, we've covered the first 2. We covered visualize, and we covered emotionalize. You can go back and listen to those. I'm not going to take a ton of time. The short description is this: if you do not have a clear, compelling picture of where you want to go, you will not get there. Simple as that. Visualizing is nothing more than the GPS. It's saying, where do I want to go? Put the address into your little, smart device, aka your subconscious, and start targeting it. That's step 1. You have to know who you want to be, what they look like spiritually, professionally, relationally, emotionally, mentally, physically, all the things you want to become, right? That's the idea. Spiritual, physical, relational, professional. Those are the main 4 areas of life. In there, I just mentioned a couple others, like under spiritual, there's some, or under relational, there's some emotional stuff, right? Under professional, there's both financial and employment. I mean, occupational versus financial. There's a couple of different like sub layers of all of that. But the basic 4 are simply this: who you are spiritually, i.e. the balance of your inner and outer world; who you are physically, with your nutrition, with your fitness levels, with your movement levels, with your mobility, right? As you age, who do you want to be physically in the next 3, 5, 10 years from now, right? Then there's the relational side of it, with your deep relationships, your spouse, your significant other, your children. It could be with your parents or with your siblings, even whether you're older or not. Maybe you have a great relationship with your brother or sister, or more, or your grandparents, right? There's kind of that inner circle, familial, but then there's the social circle, and that could be with coworkers, it could be with your friends, it could be with your accountability partners, your coaches. Like, what do you want your life to look like in your relationship world in the next few years? And then ultimately the professional, which is occupational and financial. When you look at your professional snapshot in the next 5 to 10 years, what do you want that to look like? How healthy do you want all of these to be? Once we finish the 5 steps in a couple of weeks, we're actually going to talk about all these dimensions of wellness and how you can grow wellness and grow health into your life a little bit more. But that's the idea, is when I picture who Dallas is going to be in the next 3, 5, 10 years, the visualize of that. Is it a compelling picture, number 1, physically, spiritually, relationally, professionally? And the other thing is, does it fire up my soul? So number 1 is visualize, number 2 is emotionalize. If it doesn't fire up my soul, if this picture isn't compelling enough that it drives me to become this guy, to become this person, then it means I don't have the right picture in place quite yet. It's not quite right. It's not fully in alignment with the future me that I see. So that's kind of been the last couple of weeks, is number 1, 2 trajectories, right? Future you want to avoid, future you want to become. Then once you figure out this future you that you want to say hello to, then you have to start with visualize. Number 2, emotionalize. Next, we're going to get into part 3 here, which is the vocalize. But first, I'd like to tell you about our sponsors. Hey everybody, I just want to give a quick shout out to our studio sponsor here at Neighborhood Loans Studio in St. Louis, Missouri. If you're in the market for a new home, look no further. Their 5-star team is excellent. They can help you get what you need. And I can personally connect you with their team, or you can check out their website, neighborhoodloans.com. Again, that's neighborhoodloans.com, or feel free to call them 314-658-9400. Again, that's 314-658-9400. And even though the studio's located here in St. Louis, Missouri, they can service you nationwide. So trust me when I say you are in the best hands with Neighborhood Loans. If you are a business professional and you're looking to lose 25 to 50 pounds of that stubborn belly fat over the next 90 days, I want to tell you about one of the programs from our sponsors, the Shed Fat Fast program with Joel Staley. Joel has helped over 1,500 clients lose all of that fat, get in the best shape of their life, and he does it with a proprietary fasting protocol that's guaranteed to get you results without giving up the food that you love. I know it works because I'm in the program right now, and I'm telling you, this thing is getting me results. I know it can get you results as well. He's got a free training for you. Go to shedfatfast.com. That's shedfatfast.com. Check out his free training. And when you call in, be sure and mention that you heard about it from the Dallas Daily Show. All right, so now we've got this idea. Visualize, emotionalize, vocalize until you internalize, and then you actualize this person, this future you want to become. So let's talk about vocalize, because there's actually kind of two parts to vocalize. We're not going to be able to get into both of them in today's conversation, but in our next mind shift, we will get into the second part. But vocalize is simply, how are you talking to yourself? What are you saying to yourself? What are the scripts that you're saying to yourself? Because if you begin to see it and you begin to feel it, then you have to begin to speak it. I think we hear all the time this idea of the power of our words, right? That's what we hear that constantly, the power of your words to shape your reality. What you speak is how you think, and how you think is how you act, and how you act determines the trajectory of your life. Let me say that again. What you think, aka the visual and the emotional, what you think is what you will speak. And what you speak is what you will believe, and how you will then believe is how you will then behave. So we have said to ourselves for years, like, we get on this cycle of all of these areas, and we say to ourselves, well, I'm just never going to get past this. Well, then guess what, pal? You ain't ever going to get past it. But, or Tessa would get on me, my mentor would get on me about this, I should say, and if we want to get past that cycle, if we want to get past that moment, we have to begin to change the way we speak. See, people spoke things over you when you were younger. Oh, you're never going to be this. You probably won't measure up to anything. Or the opposite, you can be anything you want to be, kid, right? People said things to you, about you, and over you. In your mind, they began to lay in when you were younger. And a lot of those things that were spoken shaped your beliefs about yourself. And your beliefs about yourself began to shape your behavior. So what we have to begin to do is shift the way we speak to ourselves. Now, this is going to sound, and we're going to have a laughable moment here, this is going to sound very much like the old Saturday Night Live sketch of daily affirmations with Stuart Smalley, where he'd look in the mirror, and Taylor, if we can go to camera 2 here for just a second, Stuart Smalley would look in the mirror and he'd go, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. That's where this goes. That's not what I'm talking about. It's going to feel like it ever so slightly, so bear with me while we work through this. But basically, the idea is you actually have to begin to develop what would be called a power script. It is the script that you will say to yourself that's going to anchor you to future you. So it's kind of like an anchor script. Now, just to give you an example, my background has to do with theater. I grew up in theater. I grew up in musical theater. I'm a song and dance man. I have not been active in theater in a long time. But guess what? 20 plus years later, I can still recite lines from plays that I performed, or I can still sing the lyrics of songs that I did, because what happened was, like a good example, Shakespeare. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache. Oh, I jump forward there. To sleep perchance to dream, and by a dream to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks of flesh is there too, 'tis the consummation devoutly to be wished. Okay, so that's from Hamlet. I haven't done that for a couple of decades, but here's what happened was I was given the script as the performer. I was given the script. Then I began to memorize the script. Then I memorized it and I rehearsed the script until I could step on stage and embody the script. Pay attention here. Given the script, memorized the script, rehearsed the script until I embodied the script. And 20 years later, that memory is still there. I can still pull that script up. I can still go and sing songs from Hello Dolly that I performed for like 5 months in a professional theater. I can still pull some of those things up because I lived them after I memorized, rehearsed them, and embodied them. Now just imagine the scripts that you were given by people about the things you say about yourself. You'll never amount to anything, kid, right? That kind of stuff. Or, hey, man, life's going to be hard. Sales is going to be hard. God, relationships are hard. Raising teenagers is hard. All the scripts that we were given from other people, and we took them and we memorized them, we rehearsed them, and now we embodied them. Are we surprised at all that the outcome is not what we want? That's the idea here. We have to begin to get a different script. We have to have a mind shift. We have to let go of some of the scripts of the past, and instead we have to develop a new script anchored in what we've visualized and what we've emotionalized of who we want to be. Now, I've talked about this over on the other podcast, the Dallas Daily Show. The Future You Leadership Podcast. I've discussed this with some of my guests. But basically, there's a few words that you can say to start this script. I am so happy and grateful now that. Okay, that's kind of level one. It's 8 words. I am so happy and grateful now that. ... And here's what we do. We apply that to all 4 areas of our lives that we talk about. We talk about the spiritual, the physical, the relational, professional. Now, if you need those broken down again, let me say them very quickly. Spiritual is not necessarily God / Jesus / whatever your belief is, right? Muhammad, Allah, whatever your belief is, right? It doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm not talking about that right now. That's a separate conversation. When I say spiritual, I mean the balance of your inner world and your outer world. Those times that you have just felt spent and drained, you're spiritually empty. So you have to figure out how to balance your inner world and outer world, right? So I am so happy and grateful now that spiritually, that's the first part of my script. Now that spiritually I'm on point, on fire, that I feel full, that I'm able to give to others out of a center and a core of who I am, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? But it's based on who I want to be 5 years from now, 3 years from now. I'm so happy and grateful now that spiritually I feel the voice of God every day. That's what, could be a script for you. Then you take it to physical. I am so happy and grateful now that physically I love the process of being fit, getting fit, staying fit, living fit. That I love my relationship with healthy, nutritious foods. I'm so happy and grateful that I have an active lifestyle. I am so happy and grateful that I have energy to do all the things I need to do, right? So I am so happy and grateful now that spiritually I am blah, 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 blah. I'm so happy and grateful now that physically I am yada, 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 yada. I am so happy and grateful now that relationally, my relationship with my wife is on point. It's on fire, that we're transparent and passionate and intimate, that we lean into each other, that we are succeeding in our marriage of 2 people becoming one flesh. I'm so happy and grateful that relationally, my relationship with my children is one of mutual love and honor and respect, and that our home is an oasis of peace, whatever it is for you, right? Then you take it to, I am so happy and grateful now that professionally, my business is exploding, now that I've got this, now that I'm doing that, financially, that we're free. What I don't want to do is target old stuff. It's not, I'm so happy and grateful now that I no longer suffer from this. That's not the way you say it. Quit aiming at the old target all the way and aim fully at who this person is going to become. So to have a mind shift, it's to actually visualize who you want to be, emotionalize who you want to be, and then create Vocalize, the power script, and you're supposed to recite that 1 to 2 times a day, in the morning and in the evening, right? Now, this is only one part of how you vocalize. There's a lot of other stuff, and we're going to have to get into it in the next conversation, because Vocalize part 1 is the power script. Vocalize part 2 is the microdosing your mindset. And no, microdosing does not have to do with what you think it might have to do with. We'll get into that in the next conversation, but here's your takeaway. I want you to write out your script. We've already got the download available for you at DallasDailyShow.com. We've got your Visualize so that you can write out spiritually, physically, relationally, professionally, what you want your life to look like. Then you're going to look at it and you're going to begin to, oh yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be great, right? That's what you can do. Now what you have to do is turn that into a script that starts with the I am so happy and grateful now that spiritually I am blank. I am so happy and grateful now that physically I am blank. All the good stuff, none of the bad anymore. I'm so happy and grateful now that relationally this is this. I'm so happy and grateful now that professionally I'm here. That's how you begin to talk out the big power script. In our next Mind Shift episode, we're going to get into the micro messaging and the micro dosing your mind, because that's part 2 of the Vocalize, but we don't have time for that today. So that's all I got for you, my friends. Again, that Visualize script resource is available for you at DallasDailyShow.com. And we'll see you on this next round in the Midweek Mind Shift. Be sure and join us every Monday through Friday, though, for the short 7 to 8 minute episodes of the Dallas Daily Show. Hope you have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.